All right. Hello, everybody. Hi. Welcome. I'm Anne. This is Brian. And we are going to do a little study of bandhas today in our regular yoga practice. So this should be an interesting class. Bandhas are it's a term you hear thrown around sometimes in yoga classes, like engage mula bandha or engage uddiyana bandha. And sometimes I don't always know what they're talking about. So I figure we'll go over that a little bit so you know what we're talking about when we say engage uddiyana bandha or whatever it is. So first and foremost, the body is filled up with nadis, channels of energy. And this very intense picture with this guy with all these little lines drawn through his body, that is to represent all these different channels of energy that flow through the body. Bandhas specifically are these almost, I want to call them locks because they're like these little spots that you can hold shut to trap the energy in the nadis or just in the body, so that energy or prana, the life force, can kind of knock out obstructions within the channels of energy. So the idea being that if our body is like a hollow tube, when we close off the root lock, then the energy just goes up. Or when we close off the neck lock and the root lock, the energy bounces in between these two areas and cleans out this channel, specifically the central channel of the body, Sushumna Nadi, the most sort of I-95 or I-5 of the nadi is basically the big road in the middle. And then prana can clean that out in preparation for kundalini or life force just rising up and helping us to understand our potential as whatever, multidimensional cosmic beings. So that being said, we're gonna start off today on the ground, either in child's pose or in a yoga squat, your choice. If you're in child's pose, make sure that your knees are together here and then sit the hips back onto the heels, folding forward over the knees. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I was going to say, if you're choosing to do a squat, you can also squat, but you can sit on like a block or something.
And as we lay here, either in child's or squatting, let's just start to take note of what's happening with our breath. You want to go over for breathing?
Yeah, so we're going to start to bring our awareness to the breath. And in this particular posture, child's pose or a squat like this, we're going to do something called four-part breathing, which means we're going to bring our awareness all the way down to our pelvic floor. So the four parts of four-part breathing goes pelvic floor, belly, ribs, upper chest. And so the idea being that when we inhale, we release or relax any sort of holding or tension that we might be having in the pelvic floor. And then we inhale with a nice, relaxed, open pelvic floor. And if you're in this squat or in a child's pose, you might actually feel your pelvic floor and like expand, whatever, towards your, like against your underpants or whatever you got going on. So the idea is it's just a relaxation there. A lot of yoga practices tell us to engage mula bandha. And we're actually doing the opposite of that right now. We're relaxing mula bandha. So the idea being that we inhale, we fill into the pelvic floor, we fill into the belly, we fill into the ribs, we fill into the upper chest. As we exhale from the upper chest, ribs, belly, and then the pelvic floor would just kind of naturally rise at the end of the exhale. So that's, I think, pretty much everything I wanted to talk about.
Actually, even though if you're in child's pose, you can totally stay there. I'm going to come into a squat just so I can look at the camera while I tell you a little bit about mula bandha. So mula means root, bandha is a lock, although I hesitate to think of it as a lock because the idea of locking your root is useful in some practices and traditional in some other practices, but can lead, if you're going through life with a locked up, tightened up anal sphincter, then you might find yourself feeling a little anal retentive in general. So that's why we emphasize either in a squat or in child's pose, opening through the root before you learn what it's like to engage and lift through the roots. So if you're in child's pose, feel free to come into a yoga squat. Again, as Brian said, you can sit on a block, or if your heels are up, you can put a blanket or blocks under the heels. One thing I'm going to show real quick from the side here. Child's pose or squat for me, it's easy to kind of let my torso fall in between my knees like this and get this hunch in my back, but really I want to straighten up and lengthen the back here. And then if I really want to add strength to this pose and an upright spine, I can actually lift through the pelvic floor a little bit. For women, or for people with cervix, is basically the idea is you're lifting from a point right near your cervix. For people without cervixes, the idea is that you're lifting from a point that's around the perineum. But for everybody, regardless of whether or not you're cervix or penis or whatever, just lift from, I would say, around the sort of anal area. You're lifting from the root here. That's Mula Bandha. And the idea is when we get that little extra lift from there, it sends energy upward. And then when you're ready, obviously release, relax, breathe deep from the pelvic floor, belly, ribs, upper chest, exhaling from the upper chest, ribs, belly, pelvic floor. So that's our first valve, really, that we're going over is Mula Bandha. Because if anything else, these locks, they're more like pumps, like the way, you know, they control the water at Niagara Falls or something like that. Because they do that. Don't let them fool you into thinking that they don't. So from here, feel free to come to standing any way that is comfortable for you. And we're just going to warm up the body a little bit before coming down for a seated practice that really will be the meat of today's practice, or the main course, I should say. It is yoga. You aren't supposed to be eating meat anyway. So feel free to just shake it out a bit. Sometimes also keeping Mula Bandha engaged throughout the entire practice can lead you to be extremely uptight. So that's where the shaking is very, very, very helpful to loosen that. And when shaking, feel free to treat your arms and legs like they're kind of wet noodles. They can kind of waggle a bit. That's totally fine. And at any point, if you feel like the energy is getting stuck in the body, this is a great way to unstick it. So from here, feet can come to about mat width distance, and we can just let the shaking evolve to real loose, gentle twisting. Nothing too formal. We're just warming up right now. Hopefully not whacking our friends on the hand as we twist from side to side. And you can let the shaking come to stillness, but just continue twisting for a bit. We'll do Kati Trakasana. It's a twist where I go to one side and one hand comes to a shoulder, and I open that hand and go to the other side. So it's like I'm reaching back with one arm and then back with the other. And then again, you can take this at your own pace. The main thing is just try to keep your hips facing one direction the whole time, and get the twist as much from the upper body as you can. If you want to time this with breathing, you can inhale to one direction, exhale to the other, totally fine. And then when you're ready, we'll just shake it all off again. And keeping our feet where they are, hands can come to the hips if you like. And we'll just do some hip rolls for a second. Next we have thigh circles, legs swings. Great. Okay, I'll teach the first half if you teach the second.
Okay.
Haha. We got notes today. When you're ready, switch directions, going the other way. Just lubricating the hip joints here. This is a preparation for a seated posture, but honestly, if you find yourself spending a lot of the day sitting, this is a preparation for happy hips and a long, wonderful hippie life. Not hippie like a hippie, but full of having hips. That kind of hippie. So from here, feel free to find a wall. You can do this in the center of the room if you like, but it's not a balancing practice, so a wall is useful to have for this. Whichever leg is further away from the wall, you can bend that leg, grab the ankle. If you prefer using a strap, you wrap the strap around the ankle and then pull that strap up towards you so that the heel is coming towards the hips. Now with the leg who's bent, let's match the knee up with the leg who's not bent. And then from here, let's tuck the tail. So you're probably feeling a decent stretch in the front of the bent leg, in the quadricep of the bent leg. That for me is my right leg. And then from here, we're just gonna draw little circles on the ground with our knee, and they can actually spiral out into bigger circles if you want. So we're just lubricating the hip joints just a little bit more to prepare the hips for a seated practice. When you're ready, we'll switch directions, starting with the little circles that spiral out to the bigger circles. It's quite cosmic. And then from here, we'll shake off this leg. And then this is where having a block will be helpful, but it's not totally necessary. You could also stand on a book for this, or even a brick if you're feeling very austere. So the foot that's closest to the wall, I'm going to step up onto this block, and then the foot that's furthest away, I'm just going to let it swing back and forth. And you'll notice that my arm is kind of swinging in the opposite direction of my leg. So as my leg swings backwards, my arm swings forward. And this is really just to loosen up the psoas muscle, which will also make seated postures more comfortable. So the muscle that's kind of in the front of our legs connecting our hips to our thighs. And then when you're ready, we'll come off the block, shake it off again. We can hardly ever get enough of that stuff. And then feel free to turn around, face the other way. Same thing. I'm gonna bend my knee that's furthest away from the wall. This time it's my left knee, and grab my ankle, or if you're using a strap, grab the strap and put it around your ankle. From here, I'm gonna draw my two knees together so that they're kind of in the same plane, tuck my tail, and feel a decent stretch on the front of my bent legs, quadricep or thigh. And then from here, we'll start drawing little circles. You can let go of the ankle. The little circles spiral out to bigger circles. And then when you're ready, we'll switch directions, starting off with little circles that spiral their way into bigger circles. You can shake that leg out a little bit, and feel free to step on your book, block, brick, mixing bowl. It's very strong, I have no idea. And then we'll let the leg just swing back and forth. Hopefully not kicking Brian. That's the goal here. So just loosening out through the body before a more formalized practice. And then from here, we'll come down, shake it on off again. And then one more thing for the hips and also for the spine. So this can be a movement of the hips that can evolve into a movement of the shoulders and the whole torso, or you can start it with the shoulders. To start this movement with the hips, we'll bring one hip forward and back, and then bring the other hip back as it comes forward. So we're doing figure eights with the hips. As if there's a pencil sticking down from our tailbone that is drawing figure eights on the ground. If that doesn't seem to make any sense to you, you can always just do back strokes with your arms. It can either be open back strokes like this, or hands on the shoulders like that. And then you can let that movement work its way down to the hips. So as one arm goes back, one hip goes back, and so on. When you overthink this movement, it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense, but the body kind of knows what to do with it to some degree. You just kind of allow for a sense of flow in the spine. And then from here, we'll just shake it off ground a little bit. If you're getting up in your head, always feel free to do that. We'll take one hip forward from behind and then the other. So we're switching directions of these little figure eights. Might be slightly more awkward going this way, but I guarantee with the arms added, it will start to make sense. So from here, we're swimming forward. We're doing the crawl or the front stroke, whatever you want to call it. Hands can come on the shoulders if you like, or it can be an open swim like this. Just loosening up the spine. The idea here is the spine is kind of curving side to side like an S shape, kind of like a snake. And then from here, shake it all off again. And the last thing I'll teach before I'll let Brian actually do some of this class is let's bring the big toes to touch, feet together. There can be a little bit of space between your heels if you like, maybe 3 inches, something like that. I'm gonna bend my knees, place my hands on my knees, and just draw little circles with my knees. Didn't we see someone doing this dance recently? Like in a movie? Was this in Some Like It Hot?
Maybe we just saw that
We just
recently.
watched a movie where I think someone was doing this dance. So we're just drawing little circles with the knees, first in one direction, and then when you're ready, take it the other way. Wow, what a cool looking movement. What a world. All right, and then you get chop wood, sumo twist, screw the squat.
Got it. So we'll come to stillness. Actually, we're gonna step the feet out pretty wide.
Wider than that, what do you think?
Yes, I think so. And you can have the feet both facing in the same direction.
And I'll show it from the side, actually.
We're gonna do chopping wood. So, I like to interlace the fingers like this. You could start from this downward position like this. We're gonna inhale, swing the arms up overhead. Maybe the hips come a little forward. Exhale with a ha as you come down. And we'll do that a few times. Take it at your own pace. Feel free to go as fast as you like to go or as slow as you need to go. Whatever's, just listen to your body. Not trying to hurt yourselves. We're not trying to get dizzy and pass out. So, practice mindfully. And then when you're ready, come down, just hang down. Oh, sumo twist. All right. Turn our feet out slightly to more like a 45-degree angle. And you can keep in this pretty deep squat like this. If your squat is so deep that your knees are going out past your feet, take those feet a little wider so that the knees are either above or behind the ankles. You're gonna bring the hands just to the upper inner thighs, just above the knee here. Straighten the back. So you might want to experiment with sticking your tailbone out and then try carving it down. Feel the back lengthen. And you can drop the shoulders down, feel the neck lengthen. We're gonna inhale in the middle. Exhale, straighten one arm, twist to one side. Inhale back through the middle. Exhale, straighten one arm, twist to the other side. So we're just going back and forth. Inhaling through center, exhaling as we twist. We got a guess. We got a helper.
Cameo from Bond. Help himself.
Yeah, he's got a position on my mat now.
Very nice.
He's helping to do, he's doing his own yoga. And then you can come back to center and Garuda squat. So we're just gonna, let's stand up a little bit. You can keep your feet right where they are. 45-degree angle, stepped out kind of wide. We're gonna do something called Garuda squat. So it's gonna look like this. We're gonna inhale down, palms touch overhead. Exhale, arms come back down as we come back up. Inhaling, squatting down. Exhaling. What is he doing? Okay, it's not, he's grabbing my, he's grabbing my pant leg or something.
Clearly he has something he needs you to know about. So one thing I want to bring up with Garuda squats is as we inhale and the arms come up above the head, use the arms as if they're pumps almost for the breath. So inhaling the arms up, exhaling the arms down. Inhaling the arms up, exhaling the arms down. Because even though we are doing squats here, which are wonderful and so strength building, the effort really is in expanding the sides of our body as we breathe. Because we're looking for space in the body cavity when we're breathing. As much as we can get. Shoulder seasons.
So the seesaws. All right, so we'll come. So we'll come back to the center, and you can just shake it out. And then we're gonna this guy. And then, sorry,
I'm gonna come up close to the
my
camera
yoga mat. I'm apologizing to him.
How would you describe this movie?
So this is, we're gonna do some shoulder seesawing. And the idea is here that we're reaching down with one side, reaching down with the other side. We're not hiking one side up as we reach down with the other side. So it's just like a reaching down. We're trying to grab a suitcase and pick it up off the ground or something. And if you want, you can
try to
isolate it to just the torso. Try to keep your head still.
Not easy.
As you just move the shoulders. All right, shake it out.
Swaying
palm tree. So standing right where you are, just as you are, we're going to take the arms out into a T, palms face down. Relax the shoulders. We're going to inhale, reach up and over. Take your arms like you're grabbing a giant beach ball. And come exhale back through center. Inhale, opening to the other side, grabbing that beach ball, exhaling to the center. So we're just going to go side to side, inhaling as we reach and bend, exhaling as we come back to center. Imagine that you're lifting up and then spilling over at the top of the lift. It's like a water fountain or something.
Again, this is a movement where we're using our breath to lengthen through the side body. So as we inhale, we're really lengthening one side, hopefully the other two, exhaling, coming back to normal, so to speak, as if there's a normal.
And when you're ready, we can just come right back to center. Shake it out. All right, what do we got?
Heart massage. I'm going to show this one up close too while you describe it.
Yeah, it's too bad we don't have our skeleton with us, but
you could just take off your top.
Take off your top.
So I'm going to go through the heart massage unless you want to.
Okay, so I'll show. There's a spot. So the ribs, our rib cage is here. You want to find this spot just here, this soft spot, just below the ribs. We're going to press our fingertip, or our finger pads, not the fingertips, finger pads,
so these
kind of press it into that area as much as is comfortable for you to press in. I know a lot of people store a lot of tension here, so this might be a spot that feels very like, don't touch that. So just whatever's a comfortable amount, and we're going to make circles here. And if you can press in really deep, and that's available to you and doesn't make you feel too oogie, go for it.
But don't forget to breathe.
Oh yes, breathe the whole time. And then switch the direction you're massaging. So we're just loosening up this area. Should we just do the whole thing while we're at it? Real quick, go around. Okay, no.
No. I'm saving something for the end. We will do a belly massage.
I'm just trying to loosen up this area because we're really going to be putting a lot of.
Let me show them why.
Okay.
All right. I'm taking off my top to reveal that I'm just wearing another shirt underneath. But this shirt is a lot more revealing because you're going to want to see what I'm doing. So let's do Agnisara Kriya first. We're going to be doing some abdominal isolation exercises today in this practice in the context of breathing exercises. It'll make sense at some point. But now it's time to learn about the next bandha, which is Uddiyana bandha. That's in the belly area. Uddiyana literally translates to flying up. And the purpose of this bandha is not a lock per se. We really don't want to lock our chest. We want to keep everything open and accessible through the heart and lung region. We want to be able to really expand as we breathe. But Uddiyana bandha is done on an exhale, holding the breath out. So to prepare for it, let's do something called Agnisara Kriya, just to see what it's like to work with the abdominal muscles in isolation. Agnisara Kriya is a pumping of the belly that's done on an exhale. The way that I'm going to do it is I'm going to exhale down to a squat, hands on the knees like this. And then when I'm done, I want to inhale. So basically, I'll have Brian demo it real quick while I describe what he's doing. Will you show from the side?
From the side?
Yes, please. Either one. Thank you. So Brian's going to exhale all his air out, come into a little bit of a squat, like a Utkatasana, like awkward chair pose. And then he's just going to flap his belly muscles loosely back and forth with the idea that there's almost like a rippling effect to his belly.
Let me do it again.
Okay. Just do it on your own
Did it
time.
too long.
Breathe deep. Inhale deeply and then exhale. And then, yeah, very nice. So if this makes no sense to you and it doesn't seem like something available to you today, that's okay. You can still do Uddiyana Bandha without this. So now to demonstrate Uddiyana Bandha, feel free to grab any more Agni Kriya if you want. Exhaling. Inhaling when you're done, letting the belly puff out, and then standing back up. If you're getting dizzy from any of this, feel free to stand. When you stand back up and inhale, stand with your hands on your hips, looking down at your nose tip, and breathing deeply. If you're feeling really lightheaded, you can take 3 quick inhales like this, and that'll give you a little charge of oxygen to help keep you from feeling like you're gonna pass out. So, Uddiyana Bandha, I'm gonna exhale all the air out of my belly and hold my breath out. And when I hold my breath out, I'm gonna draw, and at this point I am gonna show you what my belly is doing. I'm gonna draw the navel towards the spine, fan out the ribs, and kind of almost round the back a little bit. At that point, my belly is going to look very strange from the side. It's going to disappear because everything is going up. That is why it is a flying up motion of the bandhas. So to demonstrate real quick, this is just a demo for what we're going to do later. You can try it with me if you like. I'm going to do like I did for Agni Kriya, exhaling. And then I'm going to draw the navel towards the spine and fan out the ribs while pushing down with my hands. So like this. When you're ready, inhale, release, stand back up, shake it out.
No,
so that,
release,
oh,
then inhale.
release,
Very important.
Then inhale. Yes, thank you. Release, then inhale. So obviously a very casual approach. From here, let's have a seat. Feel free to sit up on a blanket, a block, possibly a cat doing an incredible spinal twist. You can just sit on him.
Okay.
He's just dealing with this in his own way.
He's claiming
And
my
I'm
mat.
gonna tilt this down so you can see us and the crazy cat better. So, at this point, now that we know what Uddiyana Bandha is, and we know what Mula Bandha is, and I mean, if you are practicing in a chair, just keep a nice long spine. Let's go on to some breathing exercises where we can use these bandhas as well as a third bandha, Jalandhara Bandha. That is a throat lock. Jalandhara kind of translates to throat shutting down kind of thing. Jalandhara Bandha, in my opinion, is the easiest one. I'll show you from the side what it looks like. I'll hold my hair up. It's just a tucking of the chin. That's it. So, see what I mean? Kind of easy. But very important, because with Jalandhara Bandha, if you engage Mula Bandha, lifting from the root, and then you engage Uddiyana Bandha, lifting from the belly on your exhale, and then you shut that breath in or out with Jalandhara Bandha, it leaves this closed circuit for prana to move through the body. Similarly, that would be what you do on an exhale. That's also called Mahabandha, when you have all 3 of them together. We'll talk you through that. If you inhale deeply, lower your chin at the beginning, at the end of the inhale, and hold all the air inside you like that. Same thing. At this point, you could engage Mula Bandha if you want. It's not necessary, but just shutting the door on your inhale by closing down with Jalandhara Bandha is extremely helpful for letting oxygen really work its way through the body before you lift the chin and exhale. So that being said, every morning we do a series of exercises to expand our breathing capacity, strengthen and tone our bellies, and help with digestion. That's where these bandhas really come in to help, particularly Uddiyana Bandha, to help light the fire that is in the belly that helps us get through our day, whether it's digesting food or making us feel like we can achieve anything, even if it's just leaving the house. So to do these, we're going to do 3 rounds of kapalabhati breathing. That is a pumping breath. It's a passive inhale, active exhale. So it looks from the side like this. Not with your arm up per se, but you see what my belly is doing. As I exhale, my navel draws towards my spine, and then the inhale comes naturally because my focus is just on the exhale here. Some people liken that to hyperventilating. As always, listen to your body, listen to your practice. When you're ready, we're going to inhale the arms out wide and up. Exhale, push down with the hands. This is called prana mudra. It's just going to smooth this out without inhaling the arms out wide and up again, maybe leaning forward, looking up a little. Exhale, push down with the hands. We're going to do 3 rounds of kapalabhati in between each round. We're going to exhale all the air out and try Uddiyana Bandha. If you don't want to try Uddiyana Bandha, you can exhale all the air out and then just fold forward like this. That's totally fine. Letting your body hollow over as you exhale because you just made all this space, knocking the air out. Then after that, we'll breathe for a second. We'll inhale, hold all the air in, engage in Jalandhara Bandha, and then lift the chin, exhale, and we'll do our next round. And I'll talk you through it. So let's inhale deeply. Exhale completely. Inhale deeply. Exhale completely. I'll show you my belly. Those 2. Inhale 3/4 of the way, and we'll begin our first round of kapalabhati breathing. And when you're ready, exhale completely, and you can either fold forward or engage with the Uddiyana Bandha at the end of the exhale. When you're ready, release the bandha. Inhale deeply, lengthening the spine, sitting straight up again, because you might have noticed when I'm going to Uddiyana Bandha, I kind of come forward a little bit. And exhale when you're ready. And then we're going to take a deep inhale, and it's your choice. When you're done inhaling and you're holding it, and you're about to start just holding the breath in, you can lift up on Mula Bandha if you like, totally optional. But do tuck the chin at the end of the inhale. So if you are doing Mula Bandha, do Mula Bandha first, then Jalandhara Bandha. So when you're ready, inhale deeply. At the top of the inhale, engage Mula Bandha if you like, and then Jalandhara Bandha, and we'll hold the breath in for a second. When you're ready, lift the chin, release Mula Bandha, exhale. Just breathe for a second, feeling the flood of fresh energy throughout the body. And then we'll do 2 more rounds of that. So when you're ready, inhale the arms out wide and up. Exhale, pushing down. Again, inhaling arms out wide and up. Exhaling, pushing down. And then we will inhale 3/4 of the way for our second round of kapalabhati, a little longer than the first. And begin. And when you're ready, exhale, either folding forward or at the bottom of the exhale, engaging with the bandha. If you engage with the bandha, after you engage with the bandha, feel free to engage Mula Bandha and definitely try and engage in Jalandhara Bandha. So my belly comes in, then my tail lifts, then my chin locks it all in. So when you're ready, exhaling. When you're ready, release the belly, release Mula Bandha, lift the chin, inhale deeply, exhale completely. And then inhale quite deeply and we'll hold at the top of the inhale, holding possibly Mula Bandha, definitely Jalandhara Bandha. If you want to lift the chin just slightly for the inhale, as if you're pouring air down into that long empty tube or vessel, that's one option as well. So lifting the chin, inhaling, and then engaging Mula Bandha if you like, and tucking the chin, holding Jalandhara Bandha. When you're ready to exhale, lift the chin, release Mula Bandha if you're holding, and exhale. Breathe naturally, just feeling the quality of the energy within your body, how it's moving around, either up and down, side to side, or just it feels like champagne bubbles tingling through all the pores. Could be any of the above or something totally different. And we'll do one last round. Inhaling, arms out wide and up. Maybe leaning forward, exhaling, pushing back, maybe leaning back here. Inhale, arms out wide and up again. And exhale, push back down. Again, feel free to bring hands to the knees. If you want to have hands, I forgot to say this earlier, but if you want to have pointer finger and thumb touching in, is this Yana? Chin Mudra, that's an option, or Yana Mudra with palms face up, that's an option too. This is helpful, especially when we do get into the Uddiyana bandhas, because it might help to push down on the knees as you practice it. But that's coming soon enough. So inhaling 3/4 of the way for our last round of kapalabhati. When you're ready, exhaling all the air out, either falling forward or engaging with the bandha, this time lifting through the belly. And then maybe also lifting through Mula Bandha, lowering the chin. And this time, if you like, as you're engaging with the bandha, feel free to turn the eyes up towards the eyebrow center, towards the third eye. That's another further motion to draw energy upward. So when you're ready, release, letting out the belly, releasing Mula Bandha, lifting the chin, inhaling deeply, exhaling completely. If you're feeling very up in your head, when you inhale and hold, really imagine as if energy is sinking in you, and besides locking the chin down in Jalandhara Bandha at the top of the hold, you can also look at your nose tip. So when you're ready, inhaling deeply, engaging Mula Bandha if you like, tucking the chin if you like, and then looking down at the nose tip, imagining that you are grounding into the earth, into a rightful place on the earth. When you're ready, lift the chin, release Mula Bandha if you're holding, and exhale. Very, very nice. Great job, everybody, because I know that stuff can get really intense. So from here, if you like using a folded up blanket for cat and cow, feel free to put that midway through your mat, and we're gonna come to hands and knees and just kind of cool our way down. And extra bonus, go over one more bandha, because there actually are way more than 3 bandhas in the body. These little energetic pumps are all over our body. So you wanna take us, oh my God. Because of the cat, you cannot properly do cat.
No, I can do it. So lining up wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. We're gonna do cat and cow. So as we inhale, tailbone comes up, belly drops, head comes up. As we exhale, drop the tailbone around the spine, drop the head. So we're just gonna go back and forth, inhaling into inhaling into cow, exhaling into cat. And then if you want to get a circular motion into the spine, you can the next time you inhale into cow, and then exhale, round the spine and round yourself into cat. And then on the inhale, rounding to the other side, coming into cow. So it's like you're making a circular motion with your spine. You can imagine your spine as a jump rope. And then let's switch the direction, make sure we're spiraling in both directions. And then we'll just make our way back to center.
And then from here, feel free to walk the hands forward just slightly. If you have very uninjured rotator cuffs in your shoulders, then you can come on down into heart posture. So this is where my heart and forehead are coming towards the mat. My knees are right below my hips. I'm getting a nice stretch through the back, also between the shoulder blades. And if it's comfortable for you, you can lower your chin. Now, if you are suffering from rotator cuff injury, no worries, I've got an option for you too. So if that is the case, or you just want to be extra careful with your shoulders, we'll bend the elbows and have the shoulders right under, or have the elbows right under the shoulders here. And then we're just going to lower the crown of the head for rabbit posture. Both are great options. And then when you're ready, you can lift the head again. If you're in heart posture, feel free to come back up onto your elbows a bit. So you're in the sort of elbows and knees kind of posture. And we're just going to walk the legs back.
Some of us can.
Some of us can walk the legs back and come into Sphinx. Brian, will you demo Sphinx? I'll get him out of the way.
Yeah, okay.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, we're good. He's so comfortable and asleep and everything. There we go. Transfer him to that. All right, Sphinx. Elbows directly under shoulders. And elbows are about shoulder width distance. So make sure you can measure off. Like if you can grab both elbows, then you got it. If they're beyond your grasp, and bring them a little bit more.
And then legs, I would say, are just kind of going back towards the edges of the mat, so they don't have to be too.
And then with this, try to. Sorry. With this, try to relax your shoulders down. You can even like sort of pull a little bit with your hands, like you're trying to pull your heart forward.
So at this point, I'm going to introduce Nabi Bandha. Nabi Bandha is located kind of around the navel. And the way that you're going to find it is we'll exhale completely in this Sphinx posture. And as you exhale, the navel will come towards the spine. Hold the navel towards the spine as if there's this very powerful donut right behind your navel. Hold in there. And then inhale from the side body and the back body, like we were doing earlier in class today. And exhale, maybe re-engaging Nabi Bandha. Make sure to keep the shoulders down. Inhaling from the side and back body, so the bandha is still engaged as you're breathing. Exhaling, and then you can release the bandha. So that's what that feels like. Another little pump of energy, another little valve of energy. I hesitate to call it a lock because I don't want anything to get too rigid here. And from this point, feel free to come all the way down onto your hands. One hand can come on top of the other, elbows out to the side. You can rest your head to one side or the other. We'll bend both knees and let the legs kind of windshield wiper side to side here. So just a little smoothing out before we do our last few movements before rest. And if your head is turned to one side, you can turn it to the other side while still letting those legs sway side to side. And then from here, whatever way is most comfortable for you, feel free to roll over onto your back so that we're preparing for Shavasana, preparing for our final relaxation. You can even get into the position for that. From here, before we get formally into our hardcore relaxation, remember that heart massage we did earlier with the pads of the fingers right at the solar plexus, so right where the ribs split? I'd like our fingers to come back there and we'll return to that heart massage. So just pressing in right at this split of the ribs at the bottom of the sternum. We're just going to press in with the pads of the fingers and massage little circles going in one direction, doesn't matter which. And then as we do this, let's start taking those little circles under the left ribs. So now I'm massaging beneath my lowest left ribs, beneath the floating ribs, kind of digging up under the lungs a little bit here, possibly hearing your food digesting or your belly telling you it's time to have food digesting. And then we're gonna keep going down the left side of the body, down the bottom of the ribs, until we're massaging the left side of the body. In this case, it's the oblique muscles here. You can take your left hand into this sort of lobster claw shape, and then just gently squeeze the left side of the body. Ooh, hello. If you have been engaging your core a lot recently, you might really be enjoying or appreciating the sensations you feel right now as you gently kind of, I don't want to say pinch, but just palpate that left side of the body. Then eventually the hand can work its way all the way down to right above the left hip bone. You'll feel the left hip bone poking out again. We can press in with both hands here, going back to our little circular massages just above the left hip bone, left side of the lower pelvis. And then you can let those massages work their way down towards just above the pubic bone. If you have to use the toilet, i.e. urinate, this is probably not very comfortable, so please don't do anything that's gonna make you have a bad time. From here, we'll work our fingers across above the pubic bone to the right side of the body.
finding the right hip bone. This is called the iliosacral crest, this little knobby bone that sticks up and it's kind of rounded. And we'll just continue massaging along that, above that, so towards the navel, between that and the navel. And then let's bring the fingers all the way to the right side of the body. At this point, you can take your right hand into this sort of lobster claw C shape and gently squeeze along the right side of the body. So my right thumb is squeezing the back of the right side. My right fingers are just gently massaging, squeezing, and pressing the right side of the body. This is actually where your liver is located, so be tender with it. If it hurts, don't push yourself too hard. Or examine if there's any sort of hardness there and just see if you can move that hardness, particularly if the hardness is towards the center, that might be in your intestines. You can definitely move that hardness. That's totally okay. If the hardness is in the liver, that might be a little bit more tough. So when you're ready, we'll take our hands back to those little finger pads, pressing and massaging in little circles together, and we'll bring them just below the right ribs. So we're at the bottom outside part of our right ribs, below the lungs, continuing these little circles, pressing in. We'll move our way up towards the center again. Here we are back where we started, at the solar plexus. At this point, feel free to do a little bit more massage around the belly area. You could do another circle like that, but slightly less wide. The one important thing is do not press directly on your navel. Never press directly on the navel. It doesn't like it. So avoid the umbilicus.
And just don't want it to come untied.
Yeah, you really don't want it to come untied because then you lose all your shit.
Kidding.
So just continuing the massage. And then one last thing that I love to end with is I take my thumbs and just sweep down either side of my belly. So I'm about, it looks like my thumbs are maybe 4 inches away from each other. They're about 2 inches on either side of the navel. I'm just pressing down and sweeping out. I can even draw the thumbs together and do it on one side and do it on the other. Just pressing down, smoothing the abdominal muscles. After we showed them such a wild time, we like to give them a bit of aftercare. And then from here, if you have any other movements you want to take before Shavasana, like an inversion or a spinal twist or a happy baby or any of that, feel free to take them. If you're otherwise, hooray for Shavasana. If you're wearing glasses and you prefer not to wear glasses during Shavasana, you can put them to the side, making sure that you won't roll over on them. And then from here, allow the palms to come face up about maybe 8 to 10 inches away from each hip. Legs are open about mat's width, toes pointing out towards the side. Tuck the chin just ever so slightly, no need to go into the bandha, but just keep the back of the cervical spine long. Tuck the tail ever so slightly to keep the back of the lumbar spine long. And then you can lift up your heart a little bit and tuck the shoulders towards each other, bringing the heart back down to keep the thoracic spine nice and long here. And then just rest. Softening the edges of the eyes, the eyebrows. Softening the space in between the eyebrows. Softening the edges of the mouth, the jaw, softening the shoulders, the heart, the arms, the legs, softening the mind, softening the thoughts. Take all the hard edges away. when you're ready. If you're ready. And you don't have to be ready. Feel free to bring some life to the fingers and toes. Maybe rolling through the wrists and ankles just a little bit. And stretch the arms long above the head. And they're actually got bent. Both knees, bringing the soles of the feet to the ground. Allow the knees to rock from side to side for just a second. And then when they roll over to one side, doesn't matter which, you can let the rest of the body follow. Resting in a fetal position for just a second. Appreciating your body and all the incredible, wonderful, and bizarre things that it does for you. Just for you. And then when you're ready, we'll push down with one hand and the other, bringing ourselves up for a comfortable seat. Taking a blanket, if you like, to sit upon. And once you find yourself in your comfortable seat, we'll just do a couple more rounds of prana mudra, inhaling the arms out wide and up. Exhaling, pushing down. Again, you can sway as you do this, leaning forward as you inhale, arms out wide and up. Exhaling, pushing back down. Let's do it one more time. Inhaling, arms wide and up. At the top, hands come to prayer. And come down in front of your chest. If you wish to join us in an Om, you're more than welcome. Inhaling deeply. The light in me sees and acknowledges the light in you. Thank you so much for practicing with us today. Namaste. Thank you much, everybody. Feel free to send us any questions you might have about this practice, anything that you want us to go over in more detail next week. And have a wonderful, wonderful week. I hope it's restful and filled with delicious meals, no matter how you are spending your time. Thank you.